It is now time for Week 12 of the 2020 DCFL season as we're nearing 3/4 of the way through the year. So as we take a look at the current standings, Indianapolis leads the Eastern Conference as Jacksonville's number 2 and my Charm are number 3, followed by Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. And in the Western Conference, Chicago is in the playoffs with Oakland number 2, Seattle number 3, followed by Mexico City, Kansas City, and San Diego. So then we look at the Week 12 games as they'll start off with the Chicago Staleys visiting my Baltimore Charm. If Chicago wins that or Oakland loses to Indianapolis right afterwards, they will clinch the conference title, so they'll have the number 1 seed locked up. Meanwhile, for Indianapolis, if they beat Oakland, they will get into the playoffs. So they need to win there and they'll get in. And then it'll be Jacksonville at Kansas City, San Diego at New York, Mexico City at Boston, and Seattle at Philadelphia. And the Week 12 results as my Charm got destroyed by Chicago, as Chicago has clinched their first ever division title as they have the number 1 seed locked up. Meanwhile, Indianapolis in their first rematch of Oakland in their conference championship game last year shut out Oakland 17-0 as Indianapolis for the third straight year is in the playoffs. And they got a big boost too as Kansas City upset Jacksonville. As Jacksonville, now they've lost 2 in a row, not looking that good. Followed by New York beating San Diego in overtime 13-10 as Boston beats Mexico City 7-6. Not bad, 6-7 so far. And then Seattle destroys Philadelphia as another rejection from Rapey Apey not getting Mayumi 30-6. As how about that? Seattle already beating their win total from last year. It's still hanging in there in the playoff race. Alright, so now we take a look at the Week 12 standings now. As I said, Indianapolis now has the playoff playoff berth in. Jacksonville's number 2, and now New York number 3 once again as my Charm fell to 4th, followed by Philadelphia and Boston. And in the Western Conference, Chicago now won the division, with Seattle moving up to number 2, Oakland falling to number 3, followed by Kansas City, Mexico City, and San Diego. Now there are a bunch more playoff scenarios this week, as Indianapolis will host Jacksonville this upcoming week, and if they beat Jacksonville, they will clinch the conference and get that number 1 seed locked up. And then other than that, there's nothing else in terms of playoff clinching. There is elimination though, and that's San Diego. If they lose and Seattle and Oakland both win, they are eliminated. So now we take a look at the Week 13 schedule, as we'll start with a big one as Baltimore visits Boston. Then it'll be Jacksonville visit Indianapolis. That's a huge one, as Indianapolis, if they win, they clinch the division. Followed by Philadelphia visiting New York. That's a big one. Then in the Western Conference, it'll be Kansas City visiting Chicago. Then Mexico City visiting Oakland. And then Seattle visiting Mexico City. We are just down to 4 weeks remaining, and we have 2 teams now in the playoffs, with another one possibly on the verge of clinching their conference title next week. So we'll see what happens next week.